Now, at a time when many Kenyans are tightening their belts, a very different picture is playing out across parts of the country. High-ranking government officials presiding over events where millions of shillings in hard cash are donated in the name of economic empowerment. These Harambees, which had previously drawn criticism and were put on pause following public outrage, are quietly making a comeback. This time they are more strategic, more targeted, and raising even more questions. NTV's David Mudhoka set out to trace the pattern, examine the political context, and ask what these renewed cash donations could really mean.
In South Mugirango, Kisii County, the government's latest empowerment engagement unfolded with familiar optics. A high-profile event, public pledges, and millions in hard cash. Led by Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki, the function raised 9 million shillings for local women and youth groups. But this was not an isolated event. Since mid-April, a series of similar fundraisers has been held across the country, most of them concentrated in the Mount Kenya region. In each case, roughly 10 million shillings has been handed out, mainly in cash, to select community projects. The trend began on April 13th in Kiambaa and has since moved through constituencies like Gatundu South, Limuru, Kigumo and Mwea areas where the ruling party is facing growing political pressure. Only one event, today's in Kisii, has taken place outside that block. These events come months after the government itself discouraged public displays of wealth, especially during a time of economic strain for ordinary Kenyans.
No state officer or public servant shall participate in public contributions or harambees going forward.
Now the optics are strikingly familiar. High-ranking leaders, large crowds and large sums of cash without clear accounting. There's little information about where the money is sourced, how beneficiaries are selected, and how impact is tracked. Political commentator Fanyamambo Kinuthia says, and I quote, "The money being used lacks accountability mechanisms. There was no budget allocation. It's not from the counties, it's not from the treasury, it is not in check form, but hard cash."
The Leadership and Integrity Act and the laws in Parliament don't allow the public and state officers to engage in Harambees. So whatever they are trying to do is contrary to what the law says. It's contrary to Chapter 6 of the law.
Mama soko atoke bottom aende.
What is clear is the political geography. The events are concentrated in areas where the government is working to recover ground, places that have grown more politically restless, especially after internal fallout within the ruling coalition and speculation about new presidential contenders. According to Kinuthia, and I quote, UDA government is looking for ways to help its unpopular members of parliament to go back to the constituencies where they were rejected after passing the Finance Bill 2024. UDA is trying to buy back the voters, especially within Mount Kenya. End of quote.
There is no empowerment that comes out of Harambees because most of the money that is raised in the Harambees is not enough to run any serious program. So whatever they are trying to do is basically about looking for ways and means of trying to see if they can convince the people from those areas to support the regime.
Tunaona pesa ya serikali inasanywa, MPs wanapewa, magavana wanapewa, wanapatiwa ile mtu yetu anaitwa Yesa. Si mnamjua Yesa? Aletee nyinyi watu wachache. Si pesa yote ya serikali tuweke pamoja tusomeshe watoto wote vile Kibaki alifanya.
12 Harambees, nearly 120 million shillings. And as the events continue, so do the questions, not just about empowerment, but about intent. David Muthoka, NTV, Nairobi.